980 WCAP. Everybody gets it.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various Internet marketing techniques and methods. The purpose of this show is to bring on a couple subject matter experts to help business owners and entrepreneurs learn from people who have been there and done that, so maybe they can avoid some of the pitfalls that affect all entrepreneurs and people who are hoping to become entrepreneurs. Our second guest today is Caloni Michelle, who is an online business and brand consultant, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. After completing her master's in business administration degree and working in the corporate world for 14 years, Caloni realized that she was not fulfilled, so she left her 9-to-5 and pursued entrepreneurship. She began building her personal brand in 2010, and now she works with thought leaders, influencers, serial entrepreneurs, and business leaders in helping them build and amplify their personal brands. Caloni has been featured in podcasts, conferences, radio shows, and magazines. Caloni is launching her own podcast along with retreats and masterminds. She's also writing a book. Caloni, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Ron. How are you?
Excellent. Am I pronouncing your first name right?
No, it's Caloni, but that's okay. Everybody mispronounces
Caloni. I'm sorry. I can't even blame the Boston accent. I hesitated, too, because I've spoken to you several times, and that's kind of strange. But I hesitated when I said your name one time. I said, am I even saying this right?
That's
so
okay.
For the record,
yeah. What was that?
I said, go ahead. I was going to say, for the record, what is the correct pronunciation?
It's Caloni, and I was going to say when I turned 18, I should have corrected the spelling of my name because everyone mispronounces it. They say Caloni or Colony.
Colony, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, and I apologize, and we've spoken several times, so I should have that down. But I'll probably make the mistake again, so please forgive me. It's at schooling in Boston, and please, teachers, it was different. It was a different world in the 70s than it is now. So,
yeah, that's okay.
Excellent. So, where are you calling in from?
I live in Draper, Utah, which is near Salt Lake.
Wow, way out west. They're totally different time zone.
Yeah, it's about 2 hours earlier than you right now.
All right, not too bad. And I did read some of your bio, and besides butchering the correct pronunciation of your name, the bios are great, but they often don't tell people's, true history. And like I said, I've gotten to know you. I've spoken to you. I've read some things about you and spoken to you about them, and that's what led me to reach out to you. So could you give the listeners a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so as you had mentioned, I have a background in business, and I also have my MBA, and I started building my own personal brand in 2010. Although I didn't know it at the time, I didn't know it for years until people started coming to me, asking me how I was able to build my personal brand or how I was able to attract an audience or how I was able to connect with people. And then I started to learn the strategies myself on being able to amplify my brand, and then now I teach other people how to do it. But I was working in the corporate world for 14 years, and I had a bunch of different side hustles I was trying to pursue, often working 30, 40 hours a week just on the side hustle itself. And I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Growing up poor, I always associated entrepreneurship with being poor, and it's just not something that I, wanted for my future. I wanted a different life as an adult. And so as I was experimenting with these side hustles, I just always thought getting my master's degree and working in the corporate world was the way to success. And so I never wanted to pursue entrepreneurship until like about 2011. That's when I started dabbling in a few different things. And then, lo and behold, once I was building my personal brand, it was like, oh, wow, I can actually pursue entrepreneurship in my own brand by just being myself. Like, how amazing is that? That's like the perfect job. I could be myself and get paid for it.
That's excellent.
So that's kind of how it turned out.
Yeah, and authenticity is huge. Do you find that your MBA, which is huge, I mean, congratulations on that. Do you find that maybe inhibited you a little because it made you overthink things, and you thought? I mean, obviously you've been doing this now, so it hasn't prevented you. But at some point, do you think that maybe it had you overanalyze things?
Oh, 100%. In fact, I always find that I'm overanalyzing different things or different strategies or different macro approaches. And I feel like that it's bittersweet. It's good in the sense that I can really step outside of the box and look at what's going on in my business and other people's businesses. But then because I have learned about, from working in the corporate world, but also from my MBA, I've learned different elements that you need in running a huge business. And so then I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? Well, what about this area? And so, yes, that does hinder me in certain ways, but I really think it's benefited me more than hindering me.
Yeah, and I in hearing you say that, I can see that too, because you have a broader scope on what needs to be done to achieve the end result goal of success. So it's not just the linear in the moment, it's also a broader what else needs to be done to achieve the ultimate goal.
Yes. You know, and sometimes I wish I was a little more naive to the business world, so to speak, just because then I wouldn't overanalyze things and I wouldn't know what to do. So I'd hopefully just pursue, that North Star, that one direction that I'm going without having these other thoughts that come into my head. Well, what if this and what if that? So yeah, it definitely is bittersweet.
Nice. You mentioned too that you're doing retreats.
I do. I want to start hosting some retreats this year in Utah.
Excellent. And what would be the subject matters, or what type of?
Sure. Building online businesses and personal brands, and then so have a lot of that with like-minded individuals, but then also go out and play. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Utah. Have you been to Utah, Ron?
I have not.
Okay.
But I might be one of the first to sign up for your retreat, so.
You might have to. I mean, depending on the time of year, I mean, we can go hiking, we can go mountain biking, kayaking, canoeing, in the wintertime, snowboarding, skiing, fat biking, which is where you ride mountain bikes in the snow. You can go snowshoeing, hiking in the snow. My husband can take you flying. There's so many different things that you can do outside of Utah where it's like we can work hard in the mastermind and brainstorm and really put fundamental pieces of our businesses together, but then we can still go out and play and relax and enjoy one another's company. So that's definitely on my list this year.
I love it. Good for you. And as you know, and I know, people who have been in business for quite a while, real deals and real relationships with people, those aren't done in conference rooms. Those aren't done on strategy session calls. The real relationships and people deciding to do business with you are from what you do outside. So when you're going to these events, when you're taking these hikes, when you're going to dinner or whatever the case may be with people, you're getting to know them, like them, trust them, and building a rapport with them. So I love your idea of combining the two. That's excellent.
Yeah. Our network is our net worth, so it's definitely important to get to know other people in the industry so that you can collaborate with one another. That's definitely important.
Yep, and I love that too, because I often tell people that the days of competition are over, and that's like a scarcity mindset. It's all about collaboration, because there may be things that I do that you don't do, or things that you do that I don't do, or whoever the two people are in that conversation. But we can either sub things out, send clients our way, if not now, somewhere in the future. So it's all about the collaboration.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And not just that, like in your messaging and your brand positioning, you're going to attract different clients than I will, maybe just based on my story of my past or the way that I teach things. Like there are certain people that will be attracted to my style of teaching and educating and mentorship, and there are people that will be attracted to your style. So yeah, I really don't even believe in the whole competition thing anymore. There are way too many people on the online space to serve.
Oh, yeah, we'd be in trouble, man. But now, so tell me, you talk about online businesses. Now, as you know, I own a digital marketing agency, and my business is pretty much online. I have this radio show. I'm calling in from where am I? West Palm Beach. I mean, I've been, I spent 6 or 7 days in Miami Beach, South Beach. Then I went to Delray, I think. Then I went to Hollywood, then Delray. Now I'm here. So I have like an online business. I have several employees, but my business I can do anywhere where there's internet access. And since it's like 25 degrees in Boston and 80 degrees here, I choose not to be in Boston. So is that the type of online business, or are you talking about like maybe reselling stuff or creating a course and then selling that as an online? When you talk about your specialty in online businesses and helping somebody, what is it that you do for them and help them with?
Sure. So I'm focusing more on the personal branding online business thing. So I'm working with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers, and so on who want to grow and scale their brand in the online space, just working from their computer, just like you and I do, Ron, where they can sell infomercial products. They can even sell products on Amazon or have an e-commerce website, but it's all based online. And you could have a team here locally, but for me, I can take my laptop and travel anywhere around the world and still be able to get my job done. What I'm not referring to when I'm talking about an online business is like a brick and mortar where someone would have to show up there in order to be able to carry out the tasks of their business and operate their business successfully, where you and I we operate online. So that's what I'm referring to. But even more so online, I have niched down where I'm just working with personal brands and helping them grow that side of their business, where they can pretty much just show up in who they are, put their message out to the world, whether it's on social media or YouTube or Pinterest or their website or whatever platform it is that an individual wants to use to be able to basically say, hey, my name is Caloni, this is what I do, this is what I offer, and this is a transformation that I provide to people. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about personal branding.
If you had somebody, and we have like 15 minutes left, I'm not going to do the stuff you're offering. I'm not, usually at the end I'll do like 10 minutes, so I'm just going to go right up to the end of the show with you. Let's say we have 3 levels of people. The first person is somebody who is just thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or has actually just started. The next person is somebody who's been in business for maybe 18 to 24 months, has gotten past, a lot of the ups and downs and is starting to have a little bit of success. Then we have somebody who's been in business for 4 to 5 years, and they're making 6 figures a year. They have some success, but they know that they have so much more to offer the world and can serve so many more. And your answer might apply to all 3, but what is one or more tips that you can give each one of those levels to help them achieve even greater success, without too much struggle?
Sure. So, like for the first level, when they're just starting out, typically in that phase, the individual is trying to figure out what direction they want to go, who it is that they want to serve, and why they want to serve them. So during that first 6 months, they can do one of 2 things. They can do all the research themselves, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, buying courses, and all those things, or they can hire a mentor who can get them there even faster. So it just depends on the individual and how much they want to invest in themselves and their business to be able to get them to the next level faster. But it's really recognizing who it is that they are, what it is they have to offer the world, who they want to work with, and what transformation they can provide to those individuals. Because if the new business owner isn't aware of those things or hasn't figured those things out, it's going to be very difficult for them to position their businesses or their brands in such a way that attracts the right clients. And it will also be difficult for them to make money because they're still not attracting the right clients, and then they may not be happy with who they are serving because they're not their ideal clients. So that's one of the biggest things when just starting out. One thing that I did when I was starting out too, Ron, when I didn't know as much about online marketing and some of the automation tools and the strategies that I could put behind it, is I spent like every waking moment watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. There are some really good online marketers like Amy Porterfield, and then Zach, I think it's Spunkler. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name. He's with Heart, Soul, and Hustle. They have really good marketing tips that newbies can get from them to be able to understand what they need to do in their businesses to move it to the next level. And then for businesses that, are 18 to 24 months or have been in business for, a year and a half, 2 years, this is most likely the point of where they're ready to scale. They already know what they're doing. They know who they're serving. They've already tried different strategies. They have what I like to call their North Star set. They know exactly what they're going toward. And now they're at the point where they're eliminating their distractions, and then they're just focusing on moving forward. And so at that point, they really need to understand what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. They need to understand what their core competencies are and focus on those and outsource the rest. I mean, your dream is only as big as your team. So if you don't have the people on your team to be able to help and support you on the back end with things in your business, it will be very difficult to grow. But not just that, things that someone's not good at, things that someone doesn't like to do, things that are just a time-sucking machine, if you will. Those things can really just be outsourced, but the individual or the business needs to recognize what those weaknesses are and what they need to outsource so that they can focus on what they're good at, what their strengths are, and what their core competencies are. Does that make sense?
I love it. Absolutely. Learn it, do it,
Okay.
Delegate it. You want to learn what you need and learn enough about it that whoever you hire isn't taking advantage of you, and then just delegate it. Focus on what your 1, 2, top 3 money-making activities are and delegate the rest. I love it. And also earlier you mentioned about getting a mentor or a coach, somebody who's already been there specifically in your field and has had success. All that I think is tremendous value. So thank you.
Yeah, and on the coaching mentorship subject, Ron, it's really important to find someone who has been there, done that, but also understands the journey that you're on, because there are a ton of different coaches out there. But instead of just jumping on, someone's ship who is a business coach, make sure that individual resonates with you and really understands what it is that you're trying to do and where you're trying to go, because I'm sure you have too, Ron. We've spent a lot of money and mentors, and they're a big part of why I've gotten to where I am. But with that, I mean, I've also spent money on some that it wasn't worth my time. And so just make sure that, the individual's doing the research, they're putting in the work, and they're finding someone that they really resonate with.
Very important. And I just want to let the listeners know, can you give out your contact information first?
Yeah, it's, my website, so Caloni Michelle, and I'll spell that. That's CaloniMichelle.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn also, under Caloni Michelle. So they can find me there or go to my website. They can also email me at hello@CaloniMichelle.com.
Excellent. I just want to let all the listeners know that Caloni has given us great information. This episode, as all episodes, is archived both on WCAP 980 AM, the radio website, within a couple of days, as well as mine, rcstechnologysolutions.com. So if you're unable to write down her contact information or you want to re-listen to this episode, in a couple of days you have 2 locations that you can go back and listen to it. We have about 7 minutes left, and I'd love for you to just give the listeners some value, whatever you'd like to give them. If you have a free book or a PDF to give away, that certainly would be wonderful.
Yeah, well, I do have a 15-minute call that I am giving away to any of your listeners. I'm aiming those 15-minute calls more toward building personal brands. think somebody who's stepping out as themselves. Some people still get confused with what personal brands are. So think like Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, there we go, and a few others. Those are personal brands where it's the individual themselves who you look up to, who you buy into, and then from there you buy into their products and services. So I'm gearing these calls more toward people who do want to build a personal brand, and on that 15-minute call they can ask me anything that they want about how I did it or what they should do, and those calls are completely free, and that's just for your listeners, Ron.
Wow. And how would they be able to access that?
They can email me at hello@calonimichelle.com, and then my team will give them a link to a calendar where they can, choose a date and time that suits them.
That's huge. And there you are. You practice what you preached by saying your team. So you have a team that helps you out. And to me, that's huge. You can't do it alone. Also, if you read the book by Michael Gerber, E-Myth Revisited, he talks about that as well, about how franchise systems win and individuals fail and stuff. So, yeah, I love it. And you lead by example. So, again, we have about 5 minutes left if you'd like to close it out with any great thoughts or ideas.
Sure. A few little tips that I'll kind of give your audience that I don't post everywhere on social media or any of my platforms is ways that you can actually monetize your personal brand. You know about this already, some of these, Ron, just because you already do this, but there's different things from courses. So say I actually just bought a video editing course, and a video filming course, not so much for the editing side of things, but for filming like vlogs and things like that, so that I can learn. So if your listeners are an expert in certain areas, there's online courses that they can create and sell. They can host a podcast and generate leads that way. They can write a book, ebooks. Although not as many people download ebooks these days, but you can still do that if you have a value-packed ebook that somebody wants to put together. You can sell that. Say that you're a personal brand and maybe you're really into beauty and health and those things. You can manufacture a chapstick line and sell that, or even a skincare line. There's so many different products and services that a personal brand can create that we fail to recognize. Say for a female, I'm a female, so I get this, but say you can even have some totes manufactured, some inexpensive totes with some sort of fun saying or tagline on it. You can do that. There's so many different ways that we can monetize online that we even fail to think that. Like journals and planners, that's something that I'm working with a manufacturer right now on to manufacture that. So there's a lot of different areas that we fail to recognize that we can monetize just because maybe we're not aware of it, or we don't think anyone will want to buy our products and services, or maybe we just don't think that our message is profound enough that people will want to listen. But I have been pleasantly surprised by working with individuals who thought that their message wasn't worth anything, that no one would listen. And then once they actually started putting it out there, people did care and people did want to listen to it. So if any of your listeners are really thinking about creating a personal brand, now is the time. Now is really that insurgence of personal brands. Gary Vaynerchuk has been talking about it, I think, since 2009, since his first book, or since Crush It came out, about building a personal brand, stepping up as yourself, because if something happens in the corporate world, you get let go, or you just decide that's not what you want, you have your personal brand to fall back on. Where if you're let go from a company, say you're an electrician, and you let go, where do you go from there? You get another job somewhere else, hopefully. But if you're a personal brand and you're establishing that online presence with your expertise as an electrician, since we're already using that example, then you have more options with your expertise rather than just being limited by if a company will keep you on or not.
I love it. And I can hear your passion. Not only is everything you're saying 100% true, but I can also hear your passion. It's like my company, RCS Technology Solutions. I used to, that would be what I would promote. But now, even in my case, for the last several years, it's been Ron Couming of. And if you go, it's roncouming.com. So I have been branding myself for that for some of the same reasons. Since I own the company, I don't have to worry about getting fired. You know what I mean? I can come in late once in a while, but I agree with you 100%. And throwing Gary V in there too with Crush It is great. Excellent, Gems. We got like a minute and a half, and I'd love to, if you have one thing you want to give out right now or say.
If a lot of people are afraid to step up and build that personal brand, it's not just the website, the logos, or the colors. It's the messaging that you put behind what your personal brand, you as the individual, represents. So if you feel like you have a message to share with the world and that you really want to help and inspire people in whatever area it is. It doesn't even have to be motivation. It could be in your area of expertise. Step up, learn how to do it, and just put yourself out there, and you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This has been the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions Radio Show with Ron Couming of RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients. Caloni, thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing big things from you going forward.
Thanks, Ron. Have a wonderful day.
Yep. Bye-bye.
WCAP, Lowell, Haverhill, Lawrence, Methuen, Nashua, and Salem, New Hampshire, serving the Merrimack Valley.